Hi, it's Rob. Welcome to another video. So I thought I'd go through another cube. This time it's going to be a cube of blue album covers. So this has been inspired by James Griffiths, who recently did a video and he challenged us to show some of our favourite blue album covers. So I've actually pulled a few out and made a cube here. So there's all sorts of genres from various decades, and we can have a look through probably about 50 blue album covers. So stick around. I know people quite enjoy these cube videos, so I like to put one up maybe once a month. So let's start off with probably one of my favourite blue album covers. Possibly could do with maybe a bit of an upgrade of Heaven Up Here by Echo and the Bunnymen. Pretty iconic album cover, and predominantly blue there. Maybe a bit of a surprise that I've got the Best of Alan Parsons project, and I've warmed to Alan Parsons. I'm finding his music more and more interesting. That was a very cheap find though, probably about £2. So yeah. We've got Wooden Ships. So that's part of Ripley Johnson, who's in Moon Duo, and also Rose City Band, well worth checking out. So yeah, Wooden Ships is another one of his sort of psychedelic rock projects. Solid Gold by Gang of Four, one of my favourite bands from Leeds. Maybe just a little bit behind The Wedding Present, but first 3 or 4 albums really good, and that's I think that's the second studio album. Black Country New Road. This is an album that I've grown to really appreciate. Came out a couple of years ago. The singer's name, was it Felix? Maybe. They look like a band who've got a singer called Felix, don't they? He left the band on when this was released. Subsequently, I think a lot of people maybe dropped off Black Country New Road, but yeah, this is really experimental jazz on here, and yeah, pretty avant-garde. Needs plenty of listening though. This isn't you don't listen to this first time and get it. It's but it's worth your time. Probably my favourite Smiths album. When it came out, I felt like it was a Smiths album, but it's more of a compilation with Peel sessions, etc. But pretty iconic cover. There's another cover, isn't there? The American cover. I'd like to get that. You know what I'm like for getting different covers. So yeah, Hatful of Hollow by the Smiths. Pull a couple out there now, make it a little bit easier. We've got John Cooper Clarke. Is it called Disguised in Love? So the punk poet from Salford. I think he's living with a French woman down south somewhere now, but he's still a big part of the Mancunian folklore, if you like. I've said before, when I went to my first ever concert, John Cooper Clarke was on, and he was wild, but he was brilliant, and he's still pretty wild now. Part of the Paisley underground scene. Rain Parade from '85. Very good album that only cost me £5. So yeah, Devo, Freedom of Choice. 5-6 years ago I was pretty scathing about Devo, but I've just really got into Devo now. I kind of collect them. I think this is the best album. Monster got reissued with this blue cover a couple of years ago. It's a 2 LP set. One of my favourite albums by R.E.M., but they've done probably 5 or 6 great albums, R.E.M., but this is right up there for me. My favourite New Order album is the debut. This is a reissue. My original copy got a red felt pen spilt all over it, and I think it's at my son's at the moment. Mr. Weller, Paul Weller, Greatest Hits. He's got a new album coming out, a cover versions pretty shortly, which I'll be interested to listen to. Whether I'll buy it is another another thing. Picked this up from the HMV sale, 2-disc set for 33 quid. And yeah, it's pretty good. Shoegaze Outfit, this album particularly, Chrome by Catherine Wheel. Really good record. Very Blue, Marian Faithfull, Broken English. I always love this cover. Listening to this though, recently, I think this is one that I might be taking to the charity shop and donating. It's okay, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to revisit it. Love this record. Picked it up in London for a couple of pounds, and this sort of took me down a rabbit hole for the Tubes and started picking up their records. Never that much chart success in the UK. I remember the single Prime Time, but I've discovered the Tubes are really good. Star Sailor from Wigan, which is in between Manchester and Liverpool, so they're kind of in no man's land. But this is a good, I think it's second album, a reissue, 20th anniversary. Solid stuff. Bit of reggae, Mr. Yellowman. Picked this, I found this at a car boot sale, like just on the floor, neglected. It cost me £1 and it's a bit of a classic. One of my favourite jazz records. I want to start buying more jazz and listening to more jazz. I'm feeling the jazz at the moment. Herbie Hancock taking off, Freddie Hubbard's on there, Dexter Gordon. So yeah, I might start buying a little bit more jazz. I'm in a jazz mood. Brilliant Corners debut, What's in a Word. You can get a red cover of this as well, so I need to find that. From late 80s, brilliant, love them. 1980 was it? Nuclear Days, debut by the Vapors. Really good album. I've got the reissued version of this on yellow and black vinyl, but yeah, great record. Bought this quite recently, was quite scathing initially, but played it a few times and fell in love with it. I mean, we're all in love with Toyah, so, but yeah, Sheep Farming in Barnet. Yeah, I mean, this is a record that I was kind of sucked into. The cover is incredible. The debut from FK Twigs, but yeah, it's one of my favourites of sort of last 10 years. Young Husband, Swimmers from about 6 years ago. Pretty underrated indie band. The Church. So The Church, I think I kind of heard of them. A bit like the Bible, aren't they? Horrible name. Nothing, not that I'm not anti-religious or anything, but when I started to sort of make videos and watch videos on YouTube, there was a few people who I kind of like, and they had a lot of nice things to say about the Church, so I started buying the records. Dream Academy, their debut, gorgeous. I love the Dream Academy. Life in a Northern Town, Love Parade. This is, it's not an expensive album. If you see it, it's so lush and beautiful, it's worth picking up. 86, 87, Everything But the Girl album, Idlewild. This is one I kind of neglected, but then subsequently when I played it sort of 20 years ago, I realised what a good record it is, and so it's in my collection. This was VCLT from Simon, Return to Vinyl. Sent me a couple of nice records 3-4 years ago. And this is the Best of Ultravox. Picked this up for a couple of quid pretty recently. Mother Focus. And the cover really sucked me in, but it's actually quite a nice progressive rock record. One of the worst album titles ever, The Last Record Album by Little Feat. Little Feat are one of those bands who I've kind of listened to and got the collection relatively cheap, but never really found out why people listen to them that much. I think they are a little bit of one of those overrated American bands, Canadian bands, a bit like The Band as well. If I'm in the mood, I enjoy them, but I'm not in the mood very often. Kraftwerk, Autobahn. I love Kraftwerk, so yeah, this is sort of pretty essential. Found this for £1 at Bernardo's. I found that Smith's record for £1 as well. Van de Graaff Generator. I didn't know much about them, but subsequently discovered them from Manchester. So yeah, I don't think I've ever actually played that though. ZZ Top, another one that I found very cheap, and I have got quite a few ZZ Top records. Classic. Well, it is a classic, but it's not as much of a classic as a couple of their other records. But yeah, Tommy's. When did it come out? 72? One of the best from 72, I think. This is VCLT from Norman Maslow. So Norman very generously sent a load of records to me from his friend's collection. I think it cost him £100 to send them, or $100, so that was very generous. Sent me some nice records. A twofer, Neil Young. I think that's his first 2 albums. Those twofers are very, very nice to pick up if you can find them. I think James has got a couple of twofers. Jean-Jacques Burnel, I think he's called, the bass player. I think he's the only, well, no, Hugh Cornwell's still alive, isn't he? But I think if you go and see the Stranglers now, he's the only original member. And this is a pretty good solo record from about 78, I think. With that's the Pompidou Centre, isn't it? I've been there. That's a really good cover. That's certainly one of my favourite covers. Procol Harum again, Salty Dog. I don't think this isn't actually Salty Dog. There's some tracks from Salty Dog on here. It's a bit misleading, but it's a music for pleasure. Crazy Horse record. That I'm trying to think what it's called. Is it called Crazy Moon? Yeah, I've got quite a lot of love, and I really do like Neil Young. So when I saw this record, it was reasonably priced. I picked it up, and it's good. Still plenty of records to go here. So we've got Mott the Hoople, and yeah, Mott the Hoople, Ian Hunter. He's kind of a little bit forgotten, isn't he? You can pick his records up pretty cheap. I know my sister went to see Mott the Hoople quite a few times in the mid-70s. I think she might have seen Queen supporting them, or the other way around. But yeah, they did some good songs. I mean, Roll Away the Stone, Golden Age of Rock and Roll. Everyone knows all the young dudes as well. But yeah, it's a good record. There's a bit of a surprise. Belinda Carlisle. I must have found this somewhere. I must have been walking past a house and it was left outside. Something like that. But this was such a big album for Belinda Carlisle, and that's worth just putting on your wall and looking at anyway. Band of Horses are a band who I've got quite a few records by. Kind of progressive indie, sort of sludgy Americana. I saw them on Jules Holland and was really impressed, and I picked up quite a few records by them. The X are a Dutch band who are quite electronic. I need to give this record more attention because I've had it quite a while. Well, I've had it probably about 3 years, and it's excellent. Late 70s, sort of out of the punk movement, the Skids. Original copy of mine, which is a bit damaged. Yeah, the Skids, I spoke about them before many times, sort of out of that period. One of my favourites. This is Faye Webster from last year, one of my favourite albums. Sort of female indie singer with just like a new wave indie, really. Yeah, a lot better than a lot of her contemporaries. Really, really interesting artist. I think this is like her 5th album, and she's only in her mid-20s. Garibo, picked up from the HMV sale. Dance music DJ. Not one of his better albums, but still worth having. One of my favourite Prince albums. Is it Around the World in a Day? Is that what it's called? I remember getting it when it came out and was really impressed with it. I was really like Prince this period, like Parade and this record. And then I got Graffiti Bridge and spelled it a bit. 9 Below Zero, Don't Point Your Finger. So Dennis Greaves, that guy there, went on to being a band called The Truth, but this is sort of an R&B band from the very late 70s, early 80s, who weren't that successful. I think they played a lot of gigs in the Marquee, etc. around London. In the Studio, is it the third album by Special, aka? Really nice cover there, bit of a homage. Looks like a jazz record, doesn't it? But that's a good one. Sort of the final Undertones record, Sin of Pride. Better than you think. Quite a lot of singles off here that weren't hits, but you kind of understood why the Undertones packed in after this. I don't think they knew what to do when we started to get into the 82, 83 period, but nevertheless, great career by the Undertones, and I like that record. Graham Parker, Squeezing Out Sparks. Graham Parker's one of those people, I've said before, and he sounds like a footballer. He used to be a footballer, didn't he, Graham Parker? Played for Nottingham Forest, but some of his material's as good as Elvis Costello and Joe Jackson. And it's a shame, really, that he didn't have sort of the success that those two had. But, yeah, I like that T-shirt as well. A few more to go, as you can see. Peter Gabriel. Which album's this? Peter Gabriel 4. So, yeah, I think Peter Gabriel records stand up. I think he's excellent. The early ones, really good. Again, Echo and the Bunnymen, Ocean Rain. One of my favourite Bunnymen albums, certainly in the top 3. Lloyd Boone, Mr. Hats showed this record, Cafe Bleu by the Style Council. I still don't think it's that good a record. You should have seen my face when I put this on and played it. I'm like scratching my head and then speaking to people saying, oh yeah, it's good, but no, it's not. Another Church record. I'm not sure what this one's called, but yeah, very consistent band from the mid-80s, Australian. Julian Cope. I do love a bit of Julian Cope, My Nation Underground. This has got I'm trying to think what it's got on it. Yeah, Charlatans on here, 5 O'Clock World. Good record. Yeah, it's always nice to play a bit of Julian Cope. Nice comp, the singles of The Who. Great cover, that. Love it. Love Brian Ferry as well. He's just cool, isn't he, Brian Ferry? He's just got that look. And yeah, good record. DB's recently picked this up. Sort of early 80s jangly guitars from America. Very good stuff. Positive Noise, Scottish dance guitar band from sort of Orange Juice with a bit more funk. Picked it up pretty recently and pretty enjoyable. I remember my mate bought this and going around to his house listening to it and being a bit blown away. And yeah, I love Jean-Michel Jarre. This record and Equinox. Donovan recently picked up a couple of 7-inch singles that I need to show. I picked up loads of singles cheap from a charity shop. And I was playing the Donovan ones and kind of really enjoyed them. So I need to sort of give that more of a spin. Bit of jazz, Gil Evans and Tab Dameron. Yeah, I think I've got this. It weren't £15. It was pretty cheap. And when I played it, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm going to maybe spin that later. But yeah, a little bit of jazz before I go to work. I think that's a good idea. Still Waters by the Four Tops. This is probably my favourite Four Tops record. And what a cover that is. It's great. This is way out there. Way out to lunch. Crazy. Eric Dolphy. Freddie Hubbard on there. Bobby Hutcherson. Yeah, this is a bit of an experience listening to that. I love a bit of Dusty, a girl called Dusty, and that's a beautiful cover, absolutely gorgeous. This is a sort of a jazz record that I picked up for like £1 from a car boot sale, George Duke, and it is, after cleaning it about 20 times, it's amazing, incredible. Holly Johnson, the guy from Frankie Goes to Hollywood, a solo record that I rescued from the Tip. Spoke before, I went to the Tip years ago and there were a box of records and that was in there. So it's got Americanos on it and Love Train. It's all right, actually. It's pretty good. I enjoy it. Oasis. Yeah, Oasis are everywhere at the moment, aren't they? The fourth album, Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. They've got pop-up shops all over the UK. Is it a 44-date tour they're going on? Seems to be going very well. And yeah, that's a record I really like. Bit more jazz here with Wayne Shorter and Supernova. It's got its way from Belfast Public Libraries to my house somehow. Bit of Ella. Sings Cole Porter. That would have been a cheap one, but yeah, I love a bit of Ella. Bit of jazz here now. Jerry Mulligan, New Sex, Idle Gossip. I love that. The hairstyle. I mean, my hair's like that sometimes, isn't it? The flares, the check jacket, and the saxophone. Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant cover. Oh, two of my favourites. Glenn Campbell. So underrated. Absolutely superb. And Bobby Gentry. What a nice cover that is. 2 to go. Bit of soul. Marva Reeves and the Vandellas, Natural Resources with the Rainbow, and finally the greatest hits of Diana Ross and the Supremes. So a cube of blue, that's been for James Griffiths. Go and check his channel out. I'm sure you're aware of James, one of my favourites in the vinyl community. If you got any comments about this varied cube, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching and bye for now.